Contact Radio. Welcome to First Contact Radio. To talk about all these things I'm talking about is because in life, everything is energy. Every single thing that's out there.
Yo, it's First Contact with Joshua Poe. He's the man on the mic, just in case you didn't know it. Covering news from all around the globe, from the weather and space to UFOs. We'll talk politics and make you open your eyes. Conspiracy theories and government lies. We'll dig it all up and try to find the proof. Cause it's time to demand the truth. It's time.
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact Radio.
It's time to demand
First Contact Radio. We have arrived. First Contact.
Good morning, Earthlings. Welcome back to First Contact Radio. How you doing today? Glad that you could be here. Always glad you could be here. It's nice to know that I'm not doing this alone. But if I was, that'd be all right too. Because I'm just here to spread the word that I need to spread. All right, here we go. Today is the 28th of January. 28th of January, we have a sun sign in Aquarius, same as it's been since last week right here on the 20th. So today we have a moon sign that is making a transition. It was in Virgo yesterday. Last night we went into a void of course phase at 6:10 p.m. and that void of course phase ends in just about an hour. About the time when this show is ending is we're going out of void of course. And we're going to go into Libra. So we will be at Libra for the course of the day. Libra is an air sign. So we're going to have two air signs in effect over the course of the day. The conscious mind Aquarius and the unconscious mind Libra. So lots of air. So you should know by now this is the tarot card that represents Libra. It's the tarot card of justice. It's all about balance. Balancing out. It's air. Air is words. If we take the tarot card that represents air, it's swords. If you remove the first letter S, you're left with words. Air is about the words that we speak, the actions that come from all of that. So it's that air that's put out into the world. So we want to learn when we're speaking these words, we want to learn to speak words that are going to help us, but we also want to learn not to say things that are going to hurt us, which is equally as important. And all of that is part of this karmic balance because ultimately we're the judges of what has happened in our own lives. And we decide, because we have this meter inside ourselves knowing what's right or wrong. Everybody does. Sometimes people are just more willing to cross that and, not be concerned about it. Others are more concerned about it and they want to make sure that they find balance in what they're doing. And that's the whole idea. We use the air. We balance ourselves out. Okay? So, over the course of today, really the only aspect we're going to take a look at here is tonight. And that is when Libra will be in a square with Venus. Imagination. Okay? And that'll be about the time we're winding down, getting ready to go to the bed for most of us here in America. And so, it's a time just to kind of put your mind at rest. Let yourself just kind of, be imaginative as you get ready to wind down today. Just kind of see where your imagination takes you, what it is that is there, and don't get in the way of trying to block it. Okay, sometimes we try to block the things that come through. Just be an observer. Just be an observer. All right. Moving along. Moon is in gibbous phase, 80.9% of the way full. The new moon is February 8th. We'll be there before we know it. The Jewish calendar today is 18 Shavat. 18 Shavat, and the daily thought for today is the untraditional life. These words that I command you today should be upon your heart. Deuteronomy 6:6. Every day the words of the Torah must be new to you. Sifri Rashi. Okay, here's a number of things here. Tradition is not life. Tradition preserves life, but it does not give life. Goals are not life. Goals inspire life, but they are not life. Life is here in the moment now. To be alive, every moment must be a moment that never happened before, which means that Torah must not be about tradition. It cannot be grounded on a memory of the past. Those are important, truly vital, but a Torah that cannot be built upon them. Real life, Torah life, is about who you are now, where the core of your soul lies at this very moment. For if it is not about the moment, then it is not your life. And if it is not your life, then what is it? Good question. Good question. Good daily thought. All right, then the Mayan Oracle. We are starting a new wave spell. This is the wave spell of the yellow seed. Seed's all about planting. Planting things that flower. Yellow is the color of ripening. So we have the ripening that comes from the planting. I'm sorry. Today is the sun, not the seed. The seed is down here. The sun. The sun's all about enlightenment. And we have the sun guided by the sun. So this whole theme here is the theme of enlightenment of the sun. Okay, the phrase is I unify, which comes from the one tone. I unify in order to enlighten, attracting life. I seal the matrix of universal fire with the magnetic tone of purpose. I am guided by my own power doubled. This storm, this gathering of energy, this is our like-minded energy today. Love and loyalty, the heart, this is our challenge. And dragon, just nurturing ourselves. You know, giving birth to who and what is wanting to come forward from who we are, which is our true selves. Solar wind over at space weather is 365.0 kilometers per second. Chrono hole on top has really opened up quite a bit, as we could see here, but no direct notice that we're going to get anything from that yet. M-class flare possibility sits at 20%, X-class at 1%. Geomagnetic storm activity continues to drop, going down from 35 to 25 over the next 24 hours in the mid-latitudes, and the upper latitudes from 40 to 30. And finally, up in the sky tonight, the biggest sky asterism, informal star pattern, or at least the biggest one that's widely recognized, is the winter hexagon. It fills the sky towards the east and south these evenings. Start with brilliant Sirius at the bottom. Going clockwise from there, march through Procyon, Pollux, Castor, Capella high up, Aldebaran over Capella's right, down to Rigel in Orion's foot, and back to Sirius. Alright, so we get a nice counterclockwise direction of stars. So, definitely get out and check out the skies at night. It's been very, very clear, very, very bright. Certainly out here in Los Angeles. I hope it is in your parts of the world where you can get out and see what's going on. And that is Cosmic Weather. UFO News is up next.
This is the UFO News with Joshua Poet.
All right, Dirk, thank you very much. Today I have 4 stories. Story number 1 here, UFOs shot down by Rajasthan military jets, January 26. Now, I don't know what these are in his hand, what that represents. It says it's not every day a UFO gets shot down. This one is thought to be a balloon with a bomb tied to it. It looks like a giant orb cloud orb to me. Sometimes, if they are struck by lightning, they can malfunction and fall to Earth. This one disintegrated except for 2 sharp, finger-sized metal objects. It was enough of a threat that they called out fighter jets to shoot it down. At 9 feet in diameter, it would be hard not to see. It took 98 shots. No harmful payload was found. Why would they care about a balloon? Why did it show up on radar? And if balloons were a threat, Los Angeles, California would have a squadron of fighter jets at war in the sky over Disneyland. Good points. And so it says the suspicious object flying over Jaisalmer in Rajasthan on Tuesday that led to Indian Air Force's jet fighters and helicopters scramble for it and shoot it down. It turned out to be a helium-filled balloon with "Happy Birthday" written on it. IAF said in a statement on Wednesday that on the 26th, the radar had picked up an unidentified moving object. Fighter jet intercepted the object, which was found to be a balloon about 3 meters in diameter. Due to heightened security alert, the balloon was shot down as it would have been carrying unknown payload. However, analysis of the debris was established that there was no dangerous payload. Okay, so basically, this story is telling us that they shot down a balloon that said happy birthday. They shot down a balloon that said happy birthday. And we're supposed to believe that the military doesn't know how to tell a balloon from a UFO. Do you think that we're going to buy that story? That they don't know how to tell the difference between a balloon and a UFO? Something seems weird about that. All right, UFO caught by accident in La Aurora, Argentina. This is what is claimed to be the untouched photograph. If that is the case, that is an extremely clear UFO shot. Certainly one of the clearest that we've seen. The eyewitness says, UFO in sight. Where was the photo taken? It was taken last week with the mere intention to portray the characteristics of the place. However, the photographer was surprised to see in the picture an unidentified flying object. The person took the picture with a mobile phone. Said, it is my understanding that I can attest that it is a serious and reasonable person. He told Dr. Ruben Diaz it was taken in the countryside at La Aurora, the establishing Damon Salto, a place that became the center of controversy since the 70s. It's said that there have been a number of sightings. Since then, they have traveled to many times. Most tourists arrive from Argentina. Okay, so good shot. What do you think that is? Think it's real? Think it's fake? Pretty good shot, whatever it is. Pretty good shot, and he claims it came from his phone camera. UFO over Buena Tucumán, Argentina, January 18th. You just have this suspicious light in the sky. Says anomalous object over Tucumán. The video shows the flying object over the city of Yerba Buena. After a series of moments, it rises swiftly and disappears. A video published on YouTube displays an alleged UFO in flight in the skies over the province of Tucumán, more specifically the city of Yerba Buena. The mighty UFO filmed over Yerba this Monday. Alright. So that's what we have there. Again, do you think this is real? Well, it looks like very interesting. It's got some erratic movements going to it. Looks to be. So, okay, good shot. Is it a lens flare? I don't think it's any sort of flare off of anything. Very interesting. All right, links available so you can check it out at firstcontactradio.com. And last, this article here asked the question, how does the CIA instruct its agents to take UFO photographs? Around this time last year, amateur Freedom of Information Act enthusiast John Greenwald Jr. uploaded 130,000 pages of formally classified documentation on the U.S. Air Force UFO investigations between 47 and 69. On Sunday, the CIA itself followed suit, sort of, by highlighting a handful of documents related to its own UFO projects, mostly in the 40s and the 50s. Why? Apparently, even the feds are stoked on the new season of The X-Files, which premiered on Monday. There's a tons of curiosities in the CIA's collection of UFO documents, including some referring to persistent efforts of famous UFO truthers, including Major Donald Kehoe and chemical engineer Leon Davison, to declassify CIA documents in the UFOs back in the 50s. Also buried in the pile are instructions for how to take a photo of a UFO for analysis. These instructions are from 1960, which makes some of the tech outdated, but I was able to enlist the help of Vice Canada intern and digital photo whiz Jake Kivak to walk me through how to make the CIA advice work today. All right, and there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 points. I'm just going to go over the points briefly. 1, have the camera set at infinity. 2, fast film such as Tri-X is very good. Now we have digital. For moving objects, shutter speeds not slower than 1/100th of a second should be used. Shutter and f-stop combination will depend upon lighting conditions, dusk, cloudy day, bright sunlight, etc. If your camera does not require such settings, just take pictures. 4, do not move camera during exposure. 5, take several pictures of the objects, as many as you can. If you can, include some ground in the picture of the UFO. 6, if the object appears to be close to you, a few hundred feet or closer, try to change your location on the ground so that each picture or a few pictures are taken from a different place. A change in position of 40 or 60 feet is good. This establishes what is known as a baseline and is helpful in technical analysis of your photography. If the object appears to be too far away or a mile or so, remain where you are and continue taking the picture. A small movement here will not help. However, if you can get in the car and drive half a mile to a mile or so, take another series of pictures. This will help. 7, after pictures of UFOs have been taken, remain where you are. Now slowly turning 360 degrees, take overlapping eye-level photography as you turn around. By this technique, the surrounding countryside will be photographed. This photography is very valuable for analysis of the UFO you have just photographed. 8, your cringinal negative is of value. Be sure it is processed with care. 9, if you can, have another negative made from the original. 10, any reproduction you have made for the technical study and analysis should be made from the original negative and should be printed to show all the pictures, including the border and even the sprocket holes if your files have them. All right, so there's a very good set of instructions, allegedly direct from the CIA itself. So there you have it. All right, I'm going to jump away. I'll be back. We're going to continue on with the Gospel of Truth in just a bit. This is Roswell. I'll be back.
Headline edition, July 8, 1947.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw it. Up above the clouds, it was a silver shiny disc floating high above the ground. Then I saw them waving to me. It was E.T. and his family. Something happened up the safe underground. The sky that shot the UFO down. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
The Army Air Force has announced that a flying disc has been found and is now in the possession of the Army.
One day, I was looking to the sky. I saw a UFO shot down. It was a silver shining disc broken in pieces on the ground. Then I saw them lying there, bodies scattered everywhere. Something happened, a military show. Picked up the pieces and the case was closed. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
Army officers say the missile, found sometime last week, has been inspected at Roswell, New Mexico, and sent to Wright Field, Ohio.
One day, as I was looking to the sky, I began to think for myself. What if another ship comes down to take E.T. home? Then it occurred to me, maybe this is Earth's destiny. Something like this won't happen anymore. No more missiles, no more UFOs down. Roswell, he didn't make it home. Roswell, he didn't make it home.
Headline edition will bring you special reports and interviews in a moment.
All right, Roswell. I was just thinking about the situations and what happens if E.T. decides to come back. And remember, you saw the X-Files the other night, and you saw the extraterrestrial biological entity, otherwise known as EB. You saw him trying to get away, and they shot him in the series. So what happens when the mothership comes back to pick them up and they find out that their friends have been killed? Okay, so we've been going through the Nag Hammadi library. This is the Gospel of Truth, and I'm just going to continue on where I left off. The sweetness of the Father. For the Father is sweet, and his will is good. He knows the things that are yours, so that you may rest yourselves in them. For by the fruits one knows the things that are ours, that they are the children of the Father, and one knows his aroma, that you can originate from the grace of his countenance. For this reason the Father loves his aroma, and it manifests itself in every place, and when it is mixed with matter, he gives his aroma to the light, and into his rest he causes it to ascend in every form and in every sound. For it is not ears that smell the aroma, but it is the Spirit that possesses the sense of smell and draws it for itself, to itself, and sinks into the aroma of the Father. Thus the Spirit cares for it and takes it to the place from which it has come, the first aroma which has grown cold. It is the psychical form resembling cold water that has sunk into the soil, that is not hard, of which those who see it think it is earth. Afterwards it evaporates if a breath of wind draws it, and it becomes warm. The cold aromas then are from division. For this reason faith came and destroyed division, and brought the warm fullness of love, so that the cold may not return, but the unity of perfect thought may prevail. This is the word of the gospel about finding the fullness for those who wait for the salvation that comes from above. When their hope, for which they are waiting, is waiting, they, like whose likeness is the light in which there is no shadow, then at that time the fullness is about to come. The deficiency of matter, however, is not because of the infinity of the Father, who came to give time to deficiency. In fact, it is not right to say that the incorruptible one will come in this manner. The depth of the Father is profound, and the thought of error is not with him. It is a matter of falling down and a matter of being readily set upright at the discovery of the one who has come to what he would bring back. This bringing back is called repentance. For this reason incorruption has breathed. It followed one who has sinned in order that he may find rest. Forgiveness is that which remains for the light in the deficiency, the word of the fullness. For the doctor hurries to the place where there is sickness, because that is the doctor's wish. The sick person is in the deficient condition, but does not hide, because the doctor possesses that which the patient lacks. In this manner the deficiency is filled by the fullness which has no deficiency, and which has given in order to fill the one deficient, so that the person may receive grace. For while deficient, this person had no grace. Because of this, diminishing occurred where there is no grace. When the diminished part was restored, the person in need revealed himself as fullness. This is what it means to find the light of truth that has shone towards the person. It is unchangeable. For this reason, they who have been troubled speak about Christ in their midst, so that they may receive restoration, and he may anoint them with the ointment. The ointment is the pity of the Father, who will have mercy on them. But those whom he has anointed are those who are perfect, for he filled vessels and usually coated with sealing wax. When the coating is ruined, the vessel may leak, and the cause of its defect is the lack of coating. For then a breath of wind and power that it can make it evaporate. For from the jar that is without defect no seal is removed, nor does it leak, but what it lacks is filled again by the perfect Father. The Father is good. He knows his plantings because he is the one who has planted them in his paradise, and his paradise is his place of rest. Paradise is the perfection in the thought of the Father, and the plants are the words of his reflection. Each of his words is the work of his will alone in the revelation of his word. Since they were in the depth of his mind, the word was the first to come forth, caused them to appear along with the intellect that speaks the unique word by means of silent grace. It was called thought, since they were in it before becoming manifest. It happened then that the word was the first to come forth at the moment pleasing to the will of him who desired it, and it is in the will of that Father, is at rest, and with which he is pleased. Nothing happens without him, nor does anything occur without the will of the Father. But his will is incomprehensible. His will is his footstep, but no one can know it, nor is it possible for them to concentrate on it in order to possess it. But that which he wishes takes place at the moment he wishes it. Even if the view does not please people before God, it is the Father's will, for the Father knows the beginning of them all as well as their end. For when their end arrives, he will greet them. The end, you see, is the recognition of him who is hidden, that is the Father, from whom the beginning came forth, and to whom will return all who have come to him, for they were made manifest for the glory and the joy of his name. The name of the Father is the Son. It is he who in the beginning gave a name to him, who came from him while he remained the same, and conceived him as a son. He gave him his name, which belonged to him, he, the Father, who possesses everything that exists around him. He possesses the name. He had the Son. It is possible for the Son to be seen. The name, however, is invisible, for it alone is the mystery of the invisible about to come to ears completely filled with it through the Father's agency. Moreover, as for the Father, his name was not pronounced, but is revealed through a Son. Thus, then, the name is great. Who then has been able to pronounce a name for him, this great name, except him alone to whom the name belongs, and the children of the name in whom the name of the Father is at rest, and who themselves in turn are at rest in his name, since the Father has no beginning. It is he alone who conceived it for himself as a name, in the beginning before he had created the eternal beings, that the name of the Father should be supreme over them, that is, the true name, which is secure by his authority and by his perfect power. For the name is not drawn from lexicons, nor is his name derived from the common name-giving. It is invisible. The Father alone gave the Son a name because he alone saw him, and because he alone was capable of giving him a name. For he who does not exist has no name. For what name would give to one who did not exist? Nevertheless, he who exists also with his name, and he alone knows it, and to him alone the Father gave him a name. He is the Father, his name is the Son. He did not therefore keep it secretly hidden, but it came into existence, and the Son himself disclosed the name. The name then is that of the Father, just as the name of the Father is the beloved Son. For otherwise, where would he find a name except from the Father? But someone who probably say to a friend, who would give a name to someone who existed before himself, as if indeed children did not receive their name from the one who gave them birth. Above all, then, it is fitting for us to think this point over. What is the name? This is the true name, the name that came from the Father, for it is the one who owns the name. He did not, you see, get the name on loan, as in the case of others who receive names that are made up. This is the proper name. There is no one else to whom he has given it. It has remained unnamed, unuttered, till the moment when he who is perfect pronounced it himself, and it was he alone who was able to pronounce his name and to see it. When it pleased the Father, then, that the Son should be pronounced name, and when he who has come from the depth disclosed his name, he divulged what was hidden, because he knew that the Father was absolute goodness. For this reason, indeed, the Father brought this particular one forth, that he might speak concerning the realm and his place of rest from which he had come forth, and that he might glorify the fullness, the greatness of his name, and the sweetness of the Father. Each one will speak concerning the place from which they have come forth, and to the region from which they received their essential being. They will hasten to return once again and to receive from that place the place where they stood before, and they will taste of that place, be nourished and grow. And their own place of rest is their fullness. All the emanations from the Father, therefore, are fullness, and all of his emanations have their root in the one who caused them all to grow from himself. He assigned their destinies. They then become manifest individually, that they might be perfect in their own thought. For that place, to which they extend their thought, is their root, which lifts them upward through all the heights to the Father. They reach the head, which is the rest for them, and they remain there to it, as though to say that they have touched the face by means of embraces. But they do not make this plain, for neither have they exalted themselves, nor have they diminished the glory of the Father, nor have they thought of him as small, nor bitter, nor angry, but as absolutely good, unperturbed, sweet, knowing all the spaces before they came into existence, and having no need of instruction. Such are those who possess from above something of this immeasurable greatness, as they strain towards that unique and perfect one who exists there for them. And they do not go down to Hades. They have neither envy nor moaning, nor is death in them, for they rest in him who rests, without wearying themselves or becoming confused about truth. But they indeed are the truth, and the Father is in them, and they are in the Father, since they are perfect, inseparable from him who is truly good. They lack nothing in any way, but they are given rest, and they are nourished by the Spirit, and they listen to the root. They are busy with concerns in which one will find his root, and one will suffer no loss of his soul. Such is the place of the blessed. This is their place. As for the others, then may they know their place, that it does not suit me, after having been in the place of rest, to say anything more. It is there I shall dwell, in order to devote myself at all times to the Father of all, and the true friends, those upon whom the love of the Father is lavished, and in whose midst nothing of him is lacking. It is they who manifest themselves truly, since they are in the true eternal life, and speak of the perfect light filled with the seed of the Father, which is in the heart and in the fullness, while his Spirit rejoices in it and glorifies him in whom it was, because the Father is good, and his children are perfect and worthy of his name, because he is the Father. Children of this kind are those whom he loves. This is the gospel of truth. So, quite a lot. I mean, it's a text. I'm going to want to read through it again myself. You should read through it again. You know, it's really talking to what was mentioned at the beginning of the show about the words, because it keeps mentioning how the Father would speak these words. And that was when he would see all the plants and all the things in creation that were created because of the Word. He had a thought, and he expressed that thought as a word, and that word came out, and it became exactly what it was that he wanted. And that power that's in all of us, that ability that he gave us, it's a part of us, because everything flows out. Let me show you this graphic here again. Okay, here's this graphic. What we have here is we've got the mother and the father. They're just one energy, one source, masculine, feminine. And within this is thought, foreknowledge, incorruptibility, life everlasting, and truth. Okay, these are the qualities of the mother, the father, as they express itself. And what happens is this energy flows out into life. It emanates. It just flows forth, sort of like a waterfall flows forth, and it feeds the lakes and the streams And that's what this is. It feeds this next energy, the Christ energy, the autogens. It flows through the Christ, and from the Christ it flows out to all other places, to these 4 other realms. From the 4 other realms it flowed into the 12 subrealms, the 3 subrealms each. And from the subrealms it continued to flow, and down here where Yaldabaoth was, and still went off into this other realm, it still was flowing. Because even though Yaldabaoth went off and did what he was going to do, the Father was still aware of all things. And so, when we really understand who and what we're about, and the connection we have to this energy, this force, the Father, we understand how it is all manifesting in our lives. Because that energy flows forth through the Christ, and that Christ energy flows forth through all things. There isn't anything that cannot have that energy flowing through it. The only difference is some recognize it and others do not. And the ones who recognize it are recognizing it because they've taken time to pay attention to recognize it. And the ones who aren't is because they've just been distracted, so they're not taking the time. And that's really it. So the material world we're living in is not a bad world. It's the world where we're at. And we exist because God spoke us into existence with the Word that created each one of us. So there's a reason, a purpose why we are here. And as we are here, doing what we were created to do by the Word of the Father, we are dealing with the material realm, and the material realm provides distractions. There are things for us to learn here, but we are to remember that this world can trap us. And that the biggest and worst trap that can happen is the trap of forgetfulness, where we forget where we're from, what we're about. Okay? So that is the gospel of truth that just reminds us the truth of God that flows within us. And these books, I think that these books of the Nag Hammadi are some of the most important books that are here, because they really outline, information we need to know. So you can see some of the ones we've already gone through. There's a lot more here. We've gone through the Gospel of Truth, the Apocryphon of John, the Hypostasis of the Archons, the Origin of the World, the Apocalypse of Adam. So, right here. All right, so you can see there's a whole bunch more here to go through, and I'm going to pick another one. I'll do another one tomorrow, and we'll just continue on from there. We'll just see where it goes, and maybe we'll come back and forth to this. Maybe I'll continue on next week. We'll see. We'll see how things flow. Anyway, that is the Gospel of Truth, and that brings us up to a video for today, which is today's channeled message. Here we go. It's Heaven's Letters.
When you need a break. Heavenletter 5543, published on January 27, 2016. God said, when you feel frustrated beyond endurance, take a break. Get a new perspective. Go in a different direction for a while. Don't meet up with what is frustrating you right now. Put it aside. Frustration is raucous music. You don't have to listen to it. Take a walk and restore yourself. Do something that you like to do. Consider you have a school holiday and make the most of it. When you are consumed with frustration, look out the window, read a romance novel, take a nap, do something that you like to do and that gives you a modicum of joy and may get your mind off what ails you. This is not running away. Too much is too much. Frustration is not intended to be an endurance test for you. You do not have to prove to yourself that you can withstand continued dire frustration. This is a time to break off this entanglement for a while. When you feel you can't hack the frustration any longer, this is a good sign that you can't hack it any longer. This is not defeat. This is time for a truce, for, truly, you have been making war with frustration. Many things, even most things, will heal themselves. Most frustration is going to go anyway with or without your pushing it away. The rain will stop. Electricity will go back on. A flood will recede. What is frustrating you won't always be around. Divert yourself from your reservoir of overbearing attention on that which you find frustrating. Get your mind off. It doesn't matter that whatever you are dealing with may not be frustrating to someone else. Someone else may enjoy working on what drives you up a wall. Someone else may love dealing with it. There are other aspects of life that are pleasure for you that may not be joy for someone else. So what? What does anyone else have to do with what appears as an immense wall to you right now? Take a break. Be good to yourself. Dealing with frustration is not meant to be the sum total of your life. What is frustration anyway? It is something that is opposed to the smooth running efficiency of what you certainly want and which you believe, at intense moments, is your need. Your needs are few, beloveds. One great need, however, is peace. Put peace before whatever may be thwarting you. Whether you should or should not be frustrated is not a question to ask. It is irrelevant. There simply are times when you need a break. Should or should not has nothing to do with it. You are responsible for your well-being. As an adult, you are responsible for your own well-being, no one else is. You can't wait for someone to come to save you from what you find intolerable. Of course, I am not telling you to run away from everything you don't like. Not at all. At the same time, you do not need to play yourself all over the field. You are not to test yourself as to how far you can go. I am telling you that when you need a break, you need a break. You don't have to stick your chin out. Of course, bear in mind that when you are frustrated, this is an agreement you have made. You agreed to it. You don't have to decide that you have to become frustrated and then bear frustration until you just can't any longer. This is a deal that you made with yourself. Go ahead. This contract is another thing you are to break off from. Break this old contract now. Channeled by Gloria Wendroff.
All right. Very good. Kind of fits into everything, talking about here. So, what's the point of all of this? What's the point? Just thought I'd take a moment. You know, there's a lot of craziness going on in the world. We're very well aware of that. And I could spend time going through the alternative news stories, and I could pull up all sort of nonsense that's going on in the world today, from politics to corruption somewhere to racism somewhere to, immigration issues somewhere, whatever. I could find problems, problems, problems. We all can. So what's the point of continuing going to highlight the problems? There doesn't seem to be one, because we're told and we learn as we read through these various texts that there are problems, but we have the ability to rise above them. And problems occur on an individual level and on a group level because individuals don't handle their problems. But we're not meant to be filled with problems. We're meant to be able to have solutions, because the Father, the Spirit that created us, that brought us into life, that spoke us into life, didn't create us here to be part of a problem, but to be part of a solution. And so all we have to do is we need to tap into who and what we are and keep thinking of the positive, the good, the ways to stay connected. And so I've decided that rather than focusing on all that other stuff, I'll talk about it periodically, and I love talking about conspiracies as much as the next person. But I also love talking about God and our connections to spirit, because that really is the way beyond all of these conspiracies. It's the way beyond all the problems. That once we're connected in, we realize that the source of the problem goes away. That those who are causing trouble in our lives disappear. Because what we're doing is we're not dealing with the physical realm, we're dealing with the non-physical realm. That is where a problem is. We're not dealing with flesh and blood. Our adversaries are the archons, these dark forces, these dark energies that are behind the scenes. Dark in terms of ignorant, not into light, not informed. And so when there's misinformation coming our way, it kind of gets in the way, and it causes confusion to those who entertain that ignorance. And so we're caught in this ignorant bubble these days, and we need to get out of it. And the only way to get out of it is to focus on the positive. Dolores Cannon talked about this new heaven and this new earth that was being created and had been created simultaneously, and it was pulling apart. She said she kept seeing things pulling apart, and we had an opportunity to be on this world where all of the people and those who are stuck in the old ways and the warlike mindset, or to be over in this reality of those who are rising and ascending with it. That's where I'm going. That's what this is all about. Because I've been part of that. We've been part of that. We don't need to do that. We can rise above, because we were created for much better things than war. Much better things. We were created in order to be expressions, as emanations of this divine spirit that flows through us. And the divine spirit's not a warlike spirit. Some of the beings that have gone into the world claiming to represent that energy have been warlike, but that spirit itself is not. And so we need to continue to accentuate the positive. We need to continue to look at these times that we're going through as simply challenges and opportunities to fix a problem by interjecting more spirit into the world. Because that's why we have the problems. We've allowed ourselves to take God out of the equation. And we've allowed ourselves to continuously discuss and promote the insanity that we have within us in our society. So as we continue to promote the sickness and the mental instability, that is what we're finding is happening in the world. So we need to get back to God. We need to let go of all the other nonsense. We need to stop worrying about the PC stuff, and we just need to get back to God. And it's real simple, because God exists everywhere, and the easiest way to get in touch is just go inside, close your eyes. Close your eyes, go inside, and find out that that is where that spark exists. And from there, you just let it grow. Let it grow, let it grow, let it grow. All right? Meditation time. Close your eyes. Take a deep breath. And exhale. Take another deep breath. And exhale again. Now I want you to imagine that you are seated in a room with your eyes closed, and you're looking inside of yourself. And as you look around inside of yourself, you see that there is much more space than you realized. And you look around, and you see a light. And you walk towards the light, and you see it's a light, like a flicker of a flame, just kind of floating there. And you look at this, and you see the divinity of this light. And you see that it is something very special. And as you reach up to the light, you find that it provides warmth and comfort. And you see this light, and you see that it has a connection that runs out of the body And it runs deep, deep into the cosmos, to the invisible realms, where it is connected to this flow of spirit that continually flows and feeds this flame. So just focus for a minute on that flame, that spark of spirit within you, and just imagine it growing, filling your entire body with light. Light that is alive and flickering and moving. And as this light fills your body, feel the warmth and the comfort and the strength of this light. Feel the truthfulness of this light. And just let it expand further past you, past the boundaries of your physical body, out into the world around you. And imagine yourself now walking out into the world. And as you walk through the streets, you just let this light shine, sharing this light with all who you pass by, or speak with, or see. And though you don't have to say a word, you can feel and see and observe as you walk down the street that the light is being received by all. And you notice their lives change as they stand a little different. They seem a little bit clearer, a little bit happier. So let's just imagine around our neighborhoods all across the earth, light shining bright, and the darkness, the ignorance being cast aside, dispelled by the information. For darkness is simply lack of information, lack of light. And light is knowledge, information. So let the subconscious mind continue on this journey of just sending out light and love to all that we see, meet along our journey today. And let's bring the conscious mind back to the present moment on the count of 3. 3, coming back to the present moment, filled with confidence. 2, coming back to the present moment, filled with faith. And 1, coming back to the present moment, happy, healthy, and whole. Happy, healthy, and whole. Take another deep breath. And exhale. And open your eyes. That's it, my friends. That's it for today. Thank you very much for being here and participating in this entire process. The information's available. The links are all available at First Contact Radio, so you can check out all the stories from today. Go back. I hope you are, taking time out to study through these texts in the Nag Hammadi library, because I believe that they are very important and that they tie into the whole picture to really help us understand something more that we need to understand. That's it. Have an awesome day. I'll be back tomorrow, and we shall wrap up the week. In the meantime, I love you. Keep loving each other, and I'll talk to you soon. Peace. I'm out of here.